Everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So, a bit of a frustrating day today, particularly with those couple in Ireland. Guay Cool, I think I've said it right this time, finishing second after going all the way around the outside. And then in the last race that we've just had, my mate Mozzie coming from, he was last with about two to jump. Might have been three to jump. I think he was last. To be honest, when he come to the last and he was making that much ground, I thought, yeah, we're going to get this. He's going to pick him up. He just didn't quite have enough left at the finish to get past that the winner who had won over course and distance. A little bit frustrating there. A couple of others ran well, including Marble Sands. Just didn't jump well enough, but finished fifth, stayed on. He'll be one to keep an eye out going forward. And even Etalon, I'll probably back him again back at Sandown next time out. A handicapper might drop him a couple of pounds for that, for being beaten into third. Or if not, they'll come back, even if they left him on the same mark, he's probably going to go close next time as well. So anyway, moving on to tomorrow, who do we like? So we'll start off in the 1240 at Leopardstown. And I quite like this Qualita, who is still a maiden, and I think that's key to her here because I think she's been let in quite lightly off 117. The likes of the two in front of her, Queen's Gamble and Straight Home, have both won races, and I kind of feel the handicapper doesn't get them wrong, but he kind of knows roughly. Straight Home went up £10 for winning last time out at Clonmel in a handicap. It's going to be harder next time. Queen's Gamble had won 3 races, including over hurdles, 2 over hurdles, including a listed one, beating Casanamento, and then finished second recently-ish, back in November, behind Navajo Indy. In a decent race, I don't know how, whilst it was the intermediate hurdle, the one that I really like normally, I don't know how strong that form is going forward, to be honest. Navajo Indy has actually been beaten since the winner. I kind of feel that if Navajo Indy maybe had won, then I might have suggested the form was strong, but I'd be worried about that. And Queen's Gamble did go up in the handicap. This stays over 2 mile. If it was, up to 2 mile 2. I feel if it was 2.5, that might suit Queen's Gamble more. Yeah, I'm happy to take them on with the unknown type in Qualimeter. Qualimeter is what we're going to go for. Tongue tie on, up to 2.5. Got beat last about, but got beat by 6.5. A very good mare. She's going to be right up there in the mare's novice hurdle, in my opinion. Before that, she'd finished third in an Irish Zarowich. She's clearly got a lot of ability about her. And Qualimeter, while she wasn't able to go with 6.5, she ran a nice race. Even her 2 previous runs, I think they've been pretty good over hurdles. Second to Cast a Spell. I wasn't that disappointed with that. Cast a Spell had gone off. Just having a look on my other screen. Cast a Spell has since won again in a handicap offer, 113. Yeah, Qualimeter is a little bit higher, 117. I feel there's more to come from Qualimeter. She is still very young. She's only now 6. And I kind of feel that she's the one that she's the one that I feel could get absolutely smashed up tomorrow, on the basis that the Elliott team go, well, 117's nowhere near enough for her. She's not been quite right yet. The tongue tie has really worked, or is going to work. We know she'll be able to breathe much better, and we expect a huge run from her. Let's have a look at what price she currently is. Qualimeter is here at 7 to 1. You can get Sarah's at 7s at Coral and Ladbrokes. 7 to 1. Yeah, I kind of feel that's about the price I want to get involved with Qualimeter. I think with the tongue tie on, there could be more to come from her. Next race I want to talk about is the 155 at Musselburgh. And I can't get away from Asta La Pasta here. Not the biggest price. Let's have a look. Certainly not the biggest of prices at 6 to 4, but it's one of those that I'm like, yeah, I think that should win. I know the Skeletons were disappointed it got beat last time, but it actually got beat by one of our selections. And as you know, I like form if they get beat by our horses that we've picked, because I like to think I got it right. Leader in the Park beat Asta La Pasta, and Asta La Pasta maybe hung away a chance that day. This is a similar race. But I found Leader in the Park and I thought he was ahead of his mark and could be really progressive. I'm not sure there is one in this race as progressive. So even if Asta La Pasta hangs away her, towards the finish, I think by that point she might already be gone and already have won the race. So Asta La Pasta is definitely one. I'm saying she, is that right? Let's just have a look. Sorry, bear with me. And no, it's a gelding. Maybe he hung away his chance. If he runs straight tomorrow, I think he will take all of the beating over this 2.5 mile trip at Musselburgh. Sticking at Musselburgh. Now, this is an interesting one because I'm using my ratings here, and you can see that my ratings. I'm going to go for a bottom rated horse, purely on the basis that I feel the horse may have been badly campaigned recently. And that's why it's so low in the ratings. And to be honest, yeah, I do really believe that. Pulled up in the Scottish Grand National when sent off 14-1, but did come back with blood from his nostrils. So maybe there was a reason why he ran so poorly. Before that, he'd been to Newcastle on heavy going and he'd won over 4 Mile 1. So the trip isn't an issue. And that, I think, could be really key here. There's not a huge amount of them that have actually won over a similar-ish trip. If we actually look here, horse distance. So we've got, who's that? The Lucinda Russell. Oh, that's Inish Orr. But I just kind of feel he's a little bit too high in the handicap. And around about this trip, there isn't many. Another positive for Anglers Crag. He's won at the course. 5 runs ago, was running at Musselburgh over 3 mile, went off the 5-4 favourite and won by 11 lengths. Really impressive that day. Yes, that was off 115 and is now rated 131. But I feel this marathon trip will really suit him. This season, came back in the rehearsal chase over 3 mile and then they dropped him to 2 mile 5 in January for a veterans race. I just wonder whether they were going, let's see if we can get another couple of pound off him. With this race in mind, the Edinburgh National, because surely they didn't feel he had a chance over 2 mile 5, considering his last couple of good runs were over 3 mile and 4 mile. Yeah, I just hope that he has not been laid out for the race, but is in better form than what he's been showing. King Tertian isn't guaranteed to get the trip. Surrey Quest is, but I still feel he might be slightly high in the weights. And maybe they'll be looking at the Scottish National. Why would you not target the Scottish National in April? Get him dropped a couple of pounds and go back for that. Cadell, definitely, the trip would be a concern. Inish Orr, I think, will run nice. I just wonder whether he's too high in the handicap. So, yeah, that led me all the way down to Anglers Crag for the Brian Ellison and Craig Nichol team. Oh, and let's have a look at his price. He is available at a nice price, I think. Well, depends what you call nice. He is available here at 10-1. There is an 11. There's 2 12s, but I imagine they haven't updated from the non-runner. So we're going to say 10-1 about Anglers Crag. I think he'll run a nice race here. Back to Leopardstown. And we are going to go for 2 in this race because I almost can't afford to miss them. One of these, I think both of these would take all of the beating, so I've got to do them both. James de Burley is one that can certainly be very interesting. Ran a really nice race last year at Aintree when finishing second in the Topham Chase over 2 mile 5. Same trip as today. Last time out, went to Ascot for a graduation chase over 2 mile 5. Jungle Boogie was very impressive. Phil Dorr beat him as well. James de Burley, just put him into a handicap and I think he'll be able to go really well off his current handicap mark. He is back into a handicap. When he went to Punchestown for a handicap over 2 mile 5, he went off 7-2. I can see him going off about that again tomorrow. And considering that, he's currently available at, what race is it? The 245. He went off 7-2 for his last handicap. He's currently available at 13-2. I am happy to take a chance on that. I think he will go off shorter, and I think he'll run a really nice race. This is where I think he'll be aimed He went off the 4-1 favourite last year. He finished third, but he bumped into Hartwood, who was just incredibly well handicapped. If you take him out, he only lost by 2 and a bit lengths to Rian. And I wonder how much Daryl Jacob was asked to make an effort after seeing Hartwood had run away from them. Second horse that I'm definitely going to have a bet on as well is this Search to Glory, who's available at 7s. He is one of these coming from better races into this race. So he's been running in graded races. Last year, Albert Bartlett, he finished 7th. Not a bad run. This season over fences, he beat Sam Agès by 8 lengths on Beginner's Chase, his first run. He beat Sequestered comfortably. Sequestered was well behind. Then went to Punchestown and finished second to Stella Story in a grade 2. Well, Stella Story is a grade 1 horse. And then last time out, again went to Limerick against grade 1 horses. Finished third to Impere Pass and Jordan's. Now, back into handicap company is when I think we will find that the 144 mark for Search to Glory is not high enough. I think he's a good chaser. I think he's better than handicap company. He'll end up in the graded races. He might not be winning those, but that's where I think he'll end up, is consistently running in graded races. So en route, he can win this handicap for Gordon Elliott. You know, if James de Burley is actually being saved, maybe for a return to the Topham, I can't imagine that's quite what they'll do. But just in case he doesn't run up to scratch, James de Burley, I think Search to Glory would take advantage. 3 o'clock at Musselburgh. I really like this horse, Doyen Quest, over Hamsian. Now, I know we had Hamsian last time, and he was a very good winner for us. The trip is the concern for Hamsian for the new owner, Mr. Davis. Was only winning over 2 mile 5 at Cheltenham. Hadn't been anywhere near that trip before. Is the 3 mile really going to suit? I don't know. Doyen Quest, however, we know that the trip suits. Definitely disappointed last time out at Cheltenham. But if you go back to like his previous run when he was beating Gowl Road, that form suddenly looks very good. Gowl Road was being beaten there off 143. He's now rated 148. So he's up £5 from that. He beat Montmirail. He's also finished second to Lucky Place since then. Second to Long Draw. The form has worked out really well. Doyen Quest definitely disappointed last time out at Cheltenham on the new course. Maybe that didn't quite work. I also thought he was given a overly confident ride. He was held up too much and then went down the wrong part of the track in a race that I just felt that he needed to be a little bit closer to win the race. I feel they're going to go, right, we're getting back to winning ways tomorrow. Let's go back and race him and ride him properly. We know he definitely gets the trip. Maybe they were still doubting that, having won on the old course. They went to the new course and it didn't quite work. But I think they'll take all of the beating tomorrow with the Skeltons. And again, the Skeltons will be trying to win a lot of these races because if they're on TV, they get points for the Paddy Power points. And I am happy to take the 11-2 about him to beat Hamsian, who isn't guaranteed to get the trip. Whereas I think I would like Harry to sit right behind Hamsian, follow him the whole way. And then I think the pair of them will pull clear of the rest. 320 at Leopardstown. Yes, that's who I'm doing. Stateman. I am taking Stateman to beat Lossiemouth. Couple of reasons. Paul Townend has chosen to ride. Okay, he might just say, look, I'm riding the current champion. We don't know if Lossiemouth is good enough. Who has Stateman beaten at this course? In these races? Very good horses. Bob Olinger, Impere Pass, Honeysuckle, Vauban. You know, just look at that. Vauban and who did I say? Honeysuckle. I think both of those would put up massive shows in this race tomorrow. And yet Stateman beat them relatively comfortably, to be honest. I feel here Lossiemouth isn't going to go miles clear like Brighter Days Ahead did alongside this stablemate. yeah, I think State Man just might have the gears here to outstay or outquicken Lossiemouth, who might want a bit further in time. She might also want a bit further now. I thought they would be closer in the betting. In fact, you can get 6-4 about State Man. I think that's a great price. I would have them nearly joint favourites. Personally, I think the experience of State Man, I don't think he's lost it at all. I don't think he's lost his ability. His comeback run was okay. Being beaten by Brighter Days Ahead, I wasn't too disappointed with that in the Morgania hurdle. Yes, last time out was a mess of a race. That's what I think caught Paul and State Man out. Paul said he never travelled. He'll travel much better tomorrow, I'm sure. And when he does, I think he'll beat Lossiemouth. And finally, 350 at Leopardstown. I am going to take another one that I've another kind of similar angle to previously, the Enabler in a handicap. I thought the Enabler, I still like the Enabler, and Work Ahead would run big races in the Supreme. Work Ahead is still one that I'm definitely keeping an eye out for the Supreme Novice, to be honest. I thought that effort behind Jasmine DeVoe was a very good effort. And to be honest, I feel Jasmine DeVoe ran a nice race today. Didn't stay the trip, but actually jumped a lot better over the 2 mile 6 trip. Finished 4th, faded late on, but jumped a lot better. I think they'll drop him back to 2 mile or 2 mile 2 next time. Jasmine DeVoe. Now that he's learnt to jump, I think he'll take all the beating next time in a graded race, or a grade 1, for example. The Enabler and Work Ahead were 2nd and 3rd that day. Work Ahead has since come out and won in good style, beating William Money comfortably at Leopardstown, with Redemption Day back in 4th. And the Enabler had beaten Work Ahead, and beaten Work Ahead quite comfortably. The Enabler then did go to Leopardstown, stepped up in trip, went to Leopardstown over 2.5, and only just held on to beat I Am Lorenzo. Now, I Am Lorenzo did disappoint today in the 2 mile 6 graded race, finishing 8th. But I don't feel that trip is right for the Enabler. I think they're spot on with what they're doing with the Enabler. They're dropping him back in trip, back to 2 mile. His 2 mile form is good. 5th in a grade 2 bumper. 2nd beaten by Jabbar. It kind of went wrong at Galway. 2nd to Jasmine DeVoe. I think Jasmine DeVoe has the ability to be a grade 1 horse, but just didn't have the hurdling technique at that point. Dropping back to 2 mile. I really like that for the Enabler. And he's one that I'm quite keen on tomorrow, to be honest. I think he's going to run a really big race here off his handicap mark of 130. I don't think that's anywhere near enough. I think he should be being aimed at... You could almost see him winning this tomorrow and ending up and running in the Supreme Novice, rather than one of the handicaps at the Cheltenham Festival. He's a big price as well. I was surprised to see him down here at 14s. He's one of the two that I've had in mind for potentially this Supreme, is the Enabler and Work Ahead, and he's ended up running in a handicap. Yeah, I've got to get involved in that, to be honest, at 14s for the Enabler. So they are my selections for tomorrow. Hopefully we can banish those seconds. We keep getting seconds. We had like 5 last weekend. We've had another couple today. We also had I highlighted the eye catcher of the whole day. I said keep an eye out for Joye Machan at Wetherby. Luckily, we had the winner with Mr. Bramley, and Joye Machan finished 3rd. And never nearer, not hard ridden, staying on 3rd. Martin Pipe, here we go with Joye Machan. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I am off to watch... I don't know what I'm off to watch tonight. There's no football on. Maybe some rugby.